All right. So Wemby is obviously the biggest reason why the Spurs are such a bad matchup for OKC. No one else demands as much gravity. No one else can is able to do a lot of the things that he's able to do. But I think that on the if on a broader scale as well, there's so much that the Spurs are able to do, specifically with their personnel and with their coaching as well, that that manipulate. And also as well, something very interesting that I saw in this game is that the Spurs are able to make OKC reactive rather than like them being proactive, which is something which is not a lot of teams can do. And I think it's probably in that bracket of teams. I think it's probably them and only the Denver Nuggets who are able to do that. And so now, if we look at what the Spurs have that is very special about them is that their ability to force the OKC to into the type of threes that they don't want to take is something which I feel like is very key in what this team does and what this team is able to do to win games against the Thunder, and that is by forcing OKC into taking bad threes. Now, obviously, in this game, they shot terribly. I think what is it? Shea went 1 for 7, Kaysen went 1 for 5, Lou Dort went 1 for 5, Aaron Wiggins went 1 for, was it like 0 for 4? Everyone shot terribly, right? But one of the things that was really interesting in this game as well was the type of threes that the Spurs forced OKC to take, and that was they were taking more contested threes, and that was such a critical point where for OKC, if we really like take a step back from it, this is a team which is very methodical in how they approach the game. This is a team which knows what type of shots it wants to take, and if we're gonna be honest, if you're not outside of Shea, J Dub, and AJ Mitchell, these are not natural ball handlers. These are ball handlers who, if you put enough pressure on them, if you put enough stress on them to make decisions, they are likely to lose the ball. This is a team, and we saw that because this team, turned the ball over, was it 15 times? And obviously, a big number of that was Shea. But if this is a team which, if you force the role players to make decisions outside of Shea, there's a chance that if you force them into those decisions, there's a chance that you can push them into spaces where they're not as comfortable, and that results in now them sometimes the shot they need those free shots that they take, those open shots that they take normally, now they're contested shots, and they need to like they're processing more, and that just like f's up your flow, and it kind of like disrupts the shots that they're taking. And so that was something which I think that having someone like Wemby there, it allows people like Vassell, it allows people like Stephon Castle, it allows Dylan Harper, Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes as well. It allows them to kind of like press up because they know they're good on the back line. And I think that's something that is very, very cool that not a lot of teams can do. But I think it's why the Spurs are such a bad matchup for the OKC Thunder. And then the other thing I also wanted to speak about was pace. As I said before, the OKC Thunder are they're 15th in pace in the league, but one of the things about this team is that they're not outside of generating turnovers, sort of going out in transition for those layups. This is a team which prefers to be in a set offense. This is a team which knows that their bread and butter is Shea breaking it down, breaking the defense down, creating those open shots for AJ Mitchell, for Lou Dort, Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, all of those guys. That's their bread and butter. That's where they want majority of their shots to be. And so one of the things that I think the Spurs do really well is that they're able to kind of like turn this game into a pickup game where there's not a lot of stop motion. Teams are constantly moving. What's his name? People like De'Aaron Fox, people like Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell. These are players who they love getting out in front. They love pushing the pace. So having one of the things that makes the Spurs such a bad matchup for OKC is their ability to push the pace, is their ability to have generally four guards on the court with Wemby, and them still being able to be defensively solid. And I think that when you have that goes against the methodical nature of what the OKC Thunder prefer or want to do more. And I think that in this game, and I think hopefully we'll see in like future matchups, that's something that is going to be exploited more. Obviously, it's going to be harder because as teams evolve, teams are going to gain more knowledge. Role players are going to come in. Lineups are going to be tweaked. But I think that in this, there's so much that these are things which or the Spurs can continuously go to because they know that because they know that this is a weakness that they can exploit.